Child, do I have a story for y'all. It all started when this beautiful girl follows me on Instagram. Let's do the Estee Lauder to figure out how ghetto this was. Like, over time, it's clear that we're very similar. Like, all of her story posts, I'm like, that's literally me. Like, do we share brain? Come to find out, we literally have like the same chart. She's a Libra rising, I'm a Libra rising. She's an Aries moon, I'm an Aries moon. The only difference is she's a Cancer and I'm a Capricorn, which they're compatible. All signs pointed to the fact that we'd be good friends, right? Wrong. The time comes and we're like, okay, let's actually meet. We FaceTime and it's so nice. It felt like God put her in my life for a reason. I had been thinking about taking a break from alcohol and taking a break from partying and focusing on my goals. Talking to her really solidified it. She was like asking me questions like, where do you want to be in 10 years? Like, do your 10-year plan in 6 months. For a Capricorn like me, that is like writing me a love letter. Like, that's what I want to be talking about. When I told her I'd been thinking about not drinking, she was like, I'm also taking a break from drinking. I'm a month sober right now. And like, we agree, okay, we're gonna hang out this weekend and we're just gonna have a wellness weekend. Not gonna drink, just gonna work out, create vision boards, just like hang out and get to know each other. It all seemed too good to be true. That should have been my sign. It was just so like, oh my God, God, you put her in my life for a reason. And it was a reason. It was a different reason though. The day comes where I'm supposed to go visit her. She lives a little bit away from me. Also, I'm not gonna say who it is. I don't want y'all to try to find who this is. I respect this girl, you know. I wish her the best. She's just kind of weird. But anyways, he lives a little ways away from me. So she was like, okay, if you wanna just like spend the night, like you can. I would hate for you to have to like drive all the way back. And I'm like, you know what? I hate driving. So that's actually perfect for me. Yes, I did realize it's a bit strange spending the night with a stranger. I want us to both know that I knew. In my defense, I've met up with a lot of men from the internet. I wasn't going to their house, but I was meeting up with men from the internet. So I'm like, I can meet up with this wholesome girl from the internet. Push comes to shove, I can take her. I can't take these men, but at least I have a fighting chance with the girl. And I just had a good feeling. Like, I'm a vibes person and the vibes were right until they weren't. We went to this restaurant and something weird happens though. She orders a drink. I'm like, that's weird. You're a month sober. We're like having a sober weekend and you're ordering a drink? Okay, weird. Her ordering that drink was like a yellow flag. Everyone has a different relationship with alcohol. I'm not the drinking police, but it is kind of strange that we both agreed we're not drinking and boom, first meet, you get a drink. She doesn't just get one drink, she gets two. Okay, just a mental note. When you're first meeting someone, you just take mental notes like, okay, this is the type of person she is, you know? And the next morning, she wants to go on a hike. And I did want to go on the hike, but I was really nervous about sweating out my hair. My hair just gets messed up on this hike. And I'm telling her how I'm nervous because I have this brunch I have to get to. And the whole weekend I was making it known that I have a very important brunch that I have to go to. A weird thing that happens is I start complaining about how I know how to do makeup and how I help my friends do their makeup. And I was just like, I wish I had a friend like that with hair. Which at that point, she volunteers that she does hair. She knows how to do hair. She knows how to do all the styles, which I say, then do my hair. And she's like, no. Well, I'm like, well, that was helpful. You don't have to do my hair, whatever. But why'd you bring up that you could do hair? Like, I don't know, was that a joke? It wasn't funny. It actually pissed me off because I was stressed about my hair. She wanted to go bowling with her guy friend and a friend of his. So it was like a double date. I was down for it, but I was stressed about my hair and I was feeling tired. Long story short, we show up at bowling. And guess what the first thing she does is? She gets a drink. Long story short, we show up at bowling. And guess what the first thing she does is? She gets a drink. Which to me is just weird. The first night you drinking, I can excuse that kind of in my head. The second night, I'm like, oh, she's not actually serious about this like sobriety journey with me. Which is like, fine, but why did you say you were? Like, that's the weird part. You know, you're like being inconsistent. And again, she doesn't just have one drink, she has two. Literally everyone I'm with is drinking. One guy there is like being really drunk. Like, he's so handsy, so like, let's all go back to your place and we'll get a bottle. And I'm like, get a bottle? Oh hell, like I know that vibe, I know that night. I'm not doing that. That's not what I signed up for. I wanted a wholesome weekend. I wanted to make my fucking vision board. At this point, I'm thinking, you know what? I think after bowling, I'm just gonna go home tonight instead of in the morning because I have to figure out how to do my hair for this event. In hindsight, maybe I should have communicated when I was thinking about leaving earlier throughout the night. But my logic was, I don't want to embarrass her in front of her guy friends. Like, people are weird in front of other people. So once we're alone, I'll tell her that I'm gonna head out. Ciao. When we get in the car back to her place, I let her know, hey, I think I'm gonna head home tonight to be up early. Like, everything changes. We stop the music. She doesn't resume it. We were having a fun, bantery conversation. She gets so cold. One word answer. She's like, okay, fine. I don't care. Go. I didn't expect you to say this long anyway. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, communication's important in my friendships. Like, what's up? Like, no, I want you to leave. You should leave. I'm like using every ounce of emotional intelligence to like deduce why she's acting weird. And I'm like, oh, if you feel like uncomfortable in front of those guys, like, because one guy was her friend, like her close friend. So I was like, oh, she should be fine because that's her friend. Like, you know him longer than you knew me, girl. But anyways, I'm like, okay, maybe that's what it is. So I asked her, I'm like, oh, is that guy making you uncomfortable? Like, if you don't feel comfortable around him, like, I'll stay until he leaves. Like, and then she's like, yeah, that's what it is. I feel so uncomfortable around him. I really want you to stay. And I'm like, girl, why didn't you say that? That's fine. And she's like, no, I'm being sarcastic. What the fuck is going on? Why are we acting like this? Like, come on. We're grown. Let's use our words, babe. Weird vibes continue as I'm packing my stuff and leaving. Like, goes in her room, shuts her door, doesn't talk to me. When I get to my car, I'm like, I'll text her I got home safe and I'll reassure her that I had a good time. I just had to go home to prepare for this event. When I get to my car, I get a text that says, I don't want to be friends anymore. Take care. If someone tells me they don't want to be my friend, that's cool. You don't have to be my friend. I have enough. What you're not gonna do is silence me because I got some shit to say, bitch. I was gonna keep it cute. But now I gotta tell you about yourself because you're acting so weird. Like, why are you being weird? Because I wanna leave? I'm not gonna share the text messages because honestly, I wasn't my highest self. I told her that she's acting fucking weird. I suggested that she get some therapy and that she learn how to communicate better. Why would me leaving disrupt you like that? I can understand someone being a little disappointed that you're ending the party soon. Not like I'm just leaving to leave, but like, even if I was leaving to leave, why can't I leave? Like, this was so perplexing, so disturbing to my peace. One, I don't like how she reacted to this. Like, why just be like, I don't want to be your friend? Like, why was that the starting point of that conversation? I don't like that kind of communication. Also, no offense, we just met. Who's to say we were friends? We were acquaintances, but whatever. Even if we could resolve this issue, which I don't think we could, you acted weird too early on. Like, there's a threshold. You have to act weird like at least 5 friend meetups in. Like, if you're acting weird on the first friend meetup, like, that's a huge red flag, a red banner at this point, and nope. But the thing is, even if in some world I could make it past this, there's a fundamental difference between us because I'm a type of person who likes to leave when I'm ready to leave. You can ask any of my friends, when Tyla's ready to go, Tyla's gonna call her Uber. She will see you later. Like, that's my thing. I hate being anywhere for a second longer than I'd like to be. Y'all let me know, like, was I wrong in this situation? Like, call me the fuck out. Am I the asshole?
Why is my best friend actually in love with my boyfriend? My boyfriend plays soccer, but he's on 2 different club teams, so I don't make it to all his games. But my best friend will text me every time before his game. I don't know how she finds out he has a game because he said he didn't tell her. Like, there's no one else on the team that she knows. And also, he's the only person that's on both the teams. Like, no one else is on both of these club teams. So there would be no one else that she would be asking or going there for. So every time that I say I'm not going to the game, she's there. And he tells me. But, like, she's never been to a game that I'm at. And the weird part is, like, his games, even the home ones, are like at least 20 minutes away, and the away ones are even farther, and she goes to the far ass away ones that I can't make it to. Now, I've known about this for a while since it started because he's been telling me, but I haven't said anything or done anything about it because I was like, whatever, maybe there's another reason she's there, I don't know, she's just bored, needs something to do. But he said that like every game she'll come over and be like, good job, congrats, blah, 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 or I'm sorry if they lost, whatever. last week at his game, he said that she like was coming over to him and like starting conversation. And she was talking to him, it was super duper flirty, and he just kept saying like, I have to go, I have to go. And he got in his car and called me and told me about it right away. So now I'm getting ready to go to his game, and I told her that I'm not going. If she's there, then I'm gonna confront her and be like, what the fuck? Which, by the way, I know she'll freaking be there because she's at every single one. And like, I guess there's been other instances where like the three of us have been together, like at a party or whatever in school, where she has been kind of flirty, but I was just always like, okay, I'm right next to her. So I guess at the last game, she like went over to him after the game was over, and she was like, she pulled up this picture on her phone of like this girl on her boyfriend's back, like after one of his soccer games, and she was like, can we recreate this picture? And he was like, no. He was like, no, and I have to leave. But he showed it to me. Like, he found the picture that she was showing him, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, you don't take that with someone that's not your boyfriend, let alone your best friend fucking boyfriend. No. But I'm actually excited to go and confront her. Me and my boyfriend have been together for like almost 2 years now, and everything was fine up until recently. They never even really talked unless I was there, up until her and her boyfriend broke up maybe like 4 months ago, and that's when she started going to all his games. Okay, I also just remembered this other thing that happened that like I didn't think it was that weird at the time, but she had texted me and was like, hey, can we hang out? And I was like, sorry, I'm with my boyfriend right now, but if you wait until like blah 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 whatever time, we could hang out, do whatever. And so she's like, okay. And then she shows up at my house, knocks on my door, and was like, let's go to Target. All three of us can go. I was like, okay. Like, I was kind of fine with it because I was like, whatever, like, we have nothing to do anyways. We'll just go. She made him drive, but raced me. Literally sprinted to his freaking car and sat in the front seat. And me and him just looked at each other, we're like, okay. Time to go confront her. Hey guys, get ready with me again because I cried off all my makeup because I thought I wasn't going to the beach, but then I am. Okay, so basically my dad was like, we're going to the, no, it's my best friend's birthday, so I'm going to the beach, and I can't go to the beach alone because my dad's strict. So he was like, wait till I get home so I can answer that, and I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting till he gets home. It's 2 o'clock, and I'm supposed to be at the beach, so I call him. Once he gets home, I talk to him. He starts telling me no. I go, no, I have my full face of makeup. I'm looking mad good. I'm all snatched up, and he tells me no. I can't talk too loud because he's downstairs, and if he hears that I'm making a TikTok about him, he's gonna be like, he's gonna tell me no again. But then I started crying and then punching walls and stuff, and then my mom said, let's go then. So I'm gonna go with my mom because she's a W. But I really don't understand why I have to go through all this just to go to the fucking beach. Like, shouldn't it be, Papi, can I go to the beach? Yes, I'm on my way. Okay, bye. Like, it should be that easy, but no, I have to cry, I have to punch walls, I have to do all this extra bullshit. Oh my gosh, my best friend just texted me. She was like, girl, where are you at? I'm like, I just told her how I just cried off all of my makeup off and I have to like get ready again. Like, that's so fucked. I shouldn't have to go through this. I swear I shouldn't have to go through this. I don't know what I blame. I just want things to be okay. And I feel really bad for Leah because it's like, it's her birthday. Like, this shit, my little family problem should not have to come in the way of that. Like, I should be there fucking supporting her and being there. Okay, base is done. It's not as good as the last base, but it's okay, y'all. It's okay, y'all. I'm thinking of the positive, like how we're gonna be on the beach and I'm gonna be with Aaliyah and we about to be looking good as fuck, and then we about to go swimming, and then we about to do all that fun shit, and we about to look for the fine guys. Like, I'm about to find my soulmate, maybe. It's World War II, bitch, but 3 actually.
I'm a retired psycho, and I make videos on all the stupid mistakes I've made. And I'm going to tell you one of the silliest things I did. One of, because we know I've done a lot. You're going to judge me for this one. Not going to lie. I'm going to explain to you the reason why I do not bother with exes and how I got caught out with my ex. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Me and my ex were like on good terms, even though this man literally mugged me off so bad. But he drove and he used to offer to like drive me to places for free. I had a crush on this guy at the time who happened to be his ex-friend. Listen, I don't know why they fell out, but it was nothing to do with me and they were no longer friends long before me. So this is not even... And plus, my ex cheated on me loads. So I'm not even the problem here. Anyway, I'm not messy anymore. The guy I had a crush on, he used to play hard to get all the time. And I'm not saying hard to get like I'm not being delusional. He was into me, I promise. But he was dating quite a few girls and he just would not date me. I was like, why not? My mission was like to try and get him. So what I tried to do was be very different. Now, he had offered so many times to pick me up so we could go for a drive together. But I didn't want that. I wanted a date. So I just kept refusing to get in his car. And I'd say things like, I don't want to get in your car because I don't get in guy's car. Knowing full well my ex picks me up and drops me to shop when I ask him to. It's a white lie. My ex offers to drop me and my friend to this place that I went to regularly where I would see my crush all the time. That was like where we would see each other because obviously we didn't go on dates. And stupid me thought, yeah, it's fine because he doesn't usually get there until later, so I'm just gonna get him to drop us early. It's not good. As me and my friend are in the car, she goes, oh my God. I was like, what? She's like, he's there. I had a question. She's like, he's there, I can see. So I said to my ex, I was like, park down the road. He was like, what? Just park down the road. So anyway, I've got him to drop me down the street and then I've walked like the rest of the way. And as I'm walking up the road towards the entrance, my crush is there and he's like, what? Where are you walking from? You don't live that way. So me and my crush are outside talking and I told my ex, you need to drive the opposite way. I was like, do not drive past us. You need to drive the long way home. And he was like, yeah, fine. What does this man do? He drives past us. And my crush sees this car and then he looks at me and he's like, isn't that your ex's car? I was like, huh? I was like, maybe, I don't know. And he was like, that's so strange because that's like where you were walking from. And I was like, oh, that, maybe he was following me. Before I go any further, me and my crush were not established at this point. Also, he was literally dating other women. Anyway, we carry on with our night. And then he was like, let's go elsewhere, like to a different venue. I was like, cool. He was like, I'm going to get a lift with my mate. You and your friend can get an Uber. Like, he's only parked down the way. I'll see you there. I was like, cool. So I've watched him and his friend walk off and I called my ex and I'm like, can you pick us up and just take us here? And he was like, yeah, no problem. I'll be with you in a few minutes. Maybe 3 minutes later, I see my crush walking towards me. And I knew my ex was going to be there any second. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? My ex has now genuinely pulled up across the street. My crush is walking towards me and I was like, this isn't real. This is not real life. And I was like, what are you doing back here? He was like, oh, I left something. Like, where's your Uber? I was like, he'll be here soon. He looks across the street. He's like, that's your ex's car again. I was like, oh my God, that's so strange. My phone starts ringing. Help me now. Help me. He was like, is that your ex calling you? I was like, no. He was like, let me see. Thankfully, I hadn't got my ex's number saved. That tells you the terms we were on. So he went in, he got his thing, and then he walked back up the road to his friend's car. And I didn't leave it long enough. I didn't. And I started to cross the road. And as I've got to my ex's car, I've heard, I knew it! Shouting across the street is my crush. And he's like, I knew you were getting in his car. He'd literally just gone around the whole corner and he was hiding. He was checking me out. And I was like, no, nothing's happening. He was like, you're about to get in his car. I hadn't actually got in his car at this point. And I was standing at the back of it and my friend was just stood there like, what do we do? The only thing I could think of. I was like, oh, I'm getting something from his boot. That's why he's here. Like, he called me to tell me that I left something at his house months ago. He's giving it me back. And he was like, get it then. My ex has gone, what are you doing? I've gone to open the boot. He's like, what? I'm like, open the boot. He's opened the boot. I took his notepad that he did his doodles in. I was like, this. The notepad. He was like, I thought you didn't get in anyone's car. And I was like, I don't get in anyone's car. I've never been in his car before. And my ex was like, this bit. And then I crossed the road and I actually ordered an Uber. My ex was just stood there like, what's going on? And I texted him, I was like, just go home, it's fine. And then I blocked him on absolutely everything. So how does this make you a psycho? I'll tell you how. My ex knew all the girls that my crush was dating. He knew them all. So the only reason I got back in contact with my ex was so I could find out information on who he liked and didn't like and what was going on and who he was dating. And also I got a free lift out of it. That's where I used to get all my information. So yeah, I lost my source and my Uber in one day. And yes, I did tell my crush everything in the end. Thank you for getting ready with me. Bye.
Get ready with me while I tell you about how my little cousin became my little brother. So growing up, ever since I was literally born, I've always been very close with my aunt, which is my mom's sister. Well, my aunt had 2 kids. One of them is the one that is now my brother. So my aunt had 2 kids, and then my cousin's dad had passed away in his sleep. And right after that, my aunt got super sick with cancer. So my uncle passed away, and then my aunt was super sick, and she actually beat cancer the first time, but then I don't really know the timeline, like a year or a couple years later, my aunt got cancer again. This time the cancer was a lot worse, and the doctors did tell us that it was terminal, but that she had a long time to live. Well, this time while my aunt had cancer, she was in a very abusive relationship and literally getting the crap beat out of her all the time. It was just a super toxic cycle that no one could really get her out of, and we had all tried. He had been to jail. She lived with us at one point. Every time, unfortunately, she just went back, and there was nothing we could do. Like, this guy that she was with was not good at all. Like, I vividly remember on my cousin's 16th birthday, him calling my sister a whore and throwing a chair at the back of her head and barely missing by an inch. So after that day, my mom made it a rule where if he was around, I was not allowed to see my aunt because my mom did not want us to get hurt or us to be around that, which was a very difficult time because, like I said, we had always been super close with my aunt, so it meant that if someone dangerous was around, we couldn't see her, which was understandable, but it still also sucked because then we couldn't see our aunt. I vividly remember there was one Christmas where my mom made an exception to this rule, and she actually let us go to our aunt's house, and she was like, this is the one time and we're just gonna see how it goes. And I vividly remember getting screamed at by him telling me to move my legs because it was in front of the TV and he couldn't see it, and he screamed at me, so my sister screamed back and argued with him. My aunt then kicked him out of the house, and he kept trying to come back that night. So obviously then I was not allowed over there again because he was crazy. Like a year or 2 after that, my aunt unfortunately ended up passing away. But before my aunt passed away, she used to always tell my mom that if anything happened to her, that she wanted my mom to have custody of her son, which at the time, I think he was like 6 or 7 because he's now 9. Which this was not a shock to anyone because ever since my little cousin was born, he was always at our house. Like, my mom literally was the one who picked the name for him. Well, after my aunt passed away, the guy that would literally abuse my aunt all of a sudden wanted custody of my little cousin. He also used to tell my aunt all the time that those were her kids and they were not his kids, and he wanted nothing to do with them. Which was true. They are not his kids. But the fact him saying that he wanted nothing to do with them and then my aunt passes away and he all of a sudden wants custody of my little cousin made no sense. So my mom did exactly what she was meant to do, and she got lawyers and she fought him in court for, I think, a year, maybe over a year. Like, it was a long time. And honestly, the court battle was freaking crazy, and since my aunt was no longer here, any evidence we had from her was hearsay. I don't know. Which, after that, my mom did get majority custody, which still sucks that he has to go over there, but yeah, that is the story time on how my little cousin became my little brother, and it was one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And before y'all come for me, I know he's not my actual biological brother, but I do consider him my brother, and I would not want it any other way. It is the biggest blessing that has ever happened to me, and I'm so incredibly grateful. But yeah, that's my story time. Bye.
Hey guys, I have a very scary story to tell you about my mum and I when we were in London about 2 months ago. Okay, so we're staying in a really nice hotel. It's 5 stars, beautiful. Anyway, this one night we got home at like 12 a.m. and we got ready for bed, fell asleep, and then I got woken up by mum like nudging me and like whispering something to me, but I sleep with like a sleep mask on, and I must have thought that it was morning because the lights were all on in the room, so I thought it was just daylight. So I took it off and I'm like looking at her and I'm like, what? Like, what do you want? And she's like, Maddie, someone's in our room. And I'm like looking at her. I don't know, I'm still whispering. I'm like looking at her and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I swear to God, I just saw someone walk into our bathroom. And I was like, what? And I look at the time and it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, what are you talking about? And we're both silent for like 5 seconds, and then we hear something in the bathroom, and so we jump out of bed and run to the front door, and we're standing by the front door like we haven't closed the door yet because we don't have a key, and like we've just left everything inside, and it's like quite a big room as well, and the bathroom is right next to the bed, but the lights in the bathroom were off, but we were hearing noises. Anyway, I'm like looking at mum and like our hearts are like racing, and then we couldn't hear anything. Mum was like, maybe I'm hallucinating, or maybe like I dreamt it. And I'm just like, in my head I'm thinking, if this bitch has woke me up 3 a.m. because she's literally dreaming, I'm literally gonna kill her. Anyway, we're still by the door, we're silent. Mum goes around the corner to like look where the bed and bathroom is. She can't see anything, but then she hears like a noise, and so she runs back out, and we're doing the exact same thing. We're standing there like we have no idea what's going on, but we keep hearing these sounds from the bathroom. So then after a little while, it's my turn to look, and I walk around the corner and I run back. I see something and I run back to Mum, and I go, Mum, there is a man in our bed. And she goes, are you effing serious? And I said, yep, there is a man in our bed. Like, he's in our bed, tucked in on your side. And Mum's like, I'm gonna hold the door, you like run down to reception and get security. So I do. My pajamas are inside out, like I don't have any shoes on, my hair's like a mess, and I run down to reception. So I get to reception and I like tell them what's happened. I'm like, a man has come into our room and he's hopped in our bed, and they're like literally so frazzled and confused. Anyway, they come upstairs with me, they come in the door. Mum and I are like waiting out by the door, so we can't actually see what's happening, but we can hear everything that's happening. And we hear the security guards being like, sir, like trying to wake him up. So he was obviously asleep. Like, sir, like you're in the wrong room. Like, are you staying in this? Oh my God, I'm running out of time. I'm sorry, go to part 2.